Hi guys, it's Emily from Nobel Novels and welcome to today's video. This is the top 10 romances in books in my eyes. Now they're not in any necessarily order, although the last one will be probably my favourite. So not in order apart from that, but the last one, yeah, that's my favourite. Now I've got not all the books with me that for all the romances because I tend to get rid of books if they're just romances, but some of them have really struck hard in me. Now, I thought this list would be really easy. You know me, I used to be a massive chick lit fan. But I wanted to make this book diverse. I didn't want it to make it a very chick litty kind of romantic video because I find them quite boring. I wanted to make it about true love, whether it be girl boy, boy girl, boy boy. I didn't want it to be very set in stone, and I wanted it to be about romances that really meant something in my eyes. And they're very different, and I like these books because I really thought that this list would be so easy. I thought I used to be the queen of chick lit and I thought, oh my goodness, I could list loads of girly books. But I don't keep them, and I find a lot of chick lit books kind of go in one ear, romance, standard romance, in, out, you know what's going to happen, you can predict them. But in these books here, the romances have really struck home and they've obviously stayed in my heart because I've kept most of these books. And so I wanted to show you. Now, again, there are diverse in the genre of the sort of sexuality of it. They're diverse in the fact that there are different genres as well. So because I wanted to keep it really in the mix for you. So should we get on with it? After me rambling like always, and should we do the first one? Now the first one is probably one of my all-time favourite classics, and we're like, can I actually get it? The romance is in Jane Eyre. This romance is between Jane and Rochester. Now, this is where Jane really stands up to herself, but her love for Rochester is so interesting. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a cold. But I found this a really good romance because Jane works her way up. She starts off with Rochester. She ends up in I think you guys will know, most people that know about the story of this, and she ends up having to sort of go into an all-girls home. She ends up really having to work her way up. But the romance with Rochester was real true love, and I loved that. I loved the way that they are. I love the fact that Jane stands up for herself, and which in classics is not always the case. Sometimes girls can be seen as quite weak, but Jane Eyre is one of the strongest women in all the books I've ever met. And Rochester, oh my goodness, he sounds so handsome. I think there is a film out of this. I certainly want to see more about this, and I'm going to be rereading this year, either for October or beforehand, because I really, really enjoyed it. Jane comes from nothing, but she's hungry for everything. And when she meets her darkly fascinating Mr. Rochester, he sounds really... I like dark men. Not dark in the colour, but you know what I mean. I like men that sort of darker, but they've got this soft interior. The ones that really you have to fight to really get what's inside them. But I always go for the bad boys. I always used to before Chris go for the bad boys. So I think that's what I love about Mr. Rochester. He's a bad boy that gets good, and I loved it. Really, really one of my favourite books of all time. Now, I told you I hadn't done this in order, but you guys know this was one of my all-time favourite books of last year. A Curse So Dark and Lonely. This was one of my favourite books of last year, and it is still one of my favourite books probably of all time. And it's a hint as to what is actually going to be my favourite romance. But the romance between Prince Rian and Harper is incredible. I wish I could include the sequel book, but I don't want to because it gives spoilers for the romances in the sequel book. But this is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. Trust me, a lot of books. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's just such a hint, but I love Prince. This is a retelling of that. So it's fairy tale retelling in a fantasy. So it's YA fantasy with a retelling of that. And I absolutely love this. Prince Rian has got to find his true love. Harper, they bring Harper in to sort of see, she's sort of almost, they want them to fall in love, but almost they don't expect it. But the way that this builds up, oh my goodness, it is amazing. I love, again, Harper she's got cerebral palsy, so she's slightly disabled, but she has got the most biggest feist in her. Prince Rian is sort of a bad boy again. He's sort of trapped in his own world, and oh, I loved it. I love the romance of this. I love this book. I'm still keeping it my favourite. But again, the romance in this is really true, and the way they are, and the way that they're sort of almost they want to be together, but they're supposed to be together, but they're not. And You don't almost expect them to fall in love, and what happens in it, it's really important. It's not again a standard love story, it's really a fight for it. But the romance in this is really important, and I love it. And there's a character in that book I love, but there you go, we're not going to tell about him today. The next one is another YA dystopic book. It's Noughts and Crosses. This didn't end the way I expected it to. I'm not going to give any spoilers about this, but this is, again, it's dystopic in the fact that there are noughts and crosses in this book. So Callum is a nought, which is, his colour is white. And he is a second-class citizen in a world ruled by crosses. The crosses are black and Seppi's a cross. They are not supposed to be mixing. They really look down on these people. They grow up together. Seppi and Cross, sort of, Callum and Seppi, basically they meet. They're friends as children. They're friends for a very long time, and obviously friends tend to grow into romance. But the battles they face in this book they're heartbreaking. Oh my goodness, my heart broke so many times in this book, and I'm desperate to pick up the next. But it's true love. It's a case of love against the odds. It's really important, and it really gets you thinking about whether you'd stand up for what you believe in, whether you go against what everyone else is telling you to do. And I think that's why I love this book. I really loved it. Need to read the next of them. I think they're all on my wish list. I hope so, because I want them. I want them all. I'm looking everywhere to get them on cheap, but can I find them anywhere on cheap? Can I? Heck. It's really a nightmare. I'm looking for them in all the charity shops. Now the next one, The Binding. I cannot tell you who this guy Emmett falls in love with because it will be a spoiler, but the romance in this is truly important. It's LGBTQ book, so Emmett falls in love with someone he shouldn't fall in love with. But that memory of that is hidden in a book, because this is about binding memories that are supposed to be hidden, and it's about him fighting against it. It's about him finding that memory. It's about finding true love, and it's beautiful. It was my favourite book of last year. Now I know Charlie from Charles Heathcote didn't like it, but I loved it. Me and Tom both loved it. My sister Charlie loved it. It's a beautiful book. It's about finding love when you're not supposed to. It's about remembering and true love coming through even when it's not supposed to. And to me, that's very important. I think the fact that this memory is hidden is really sad. The fact that the memory of the person he falls in love with is there, his memory is hidden. So again, you can get boy and boy, but it's hidden, and it is heartbreaking because they look down on it. They look down on boys being in love with boys, and it was seen as wrong, and that isn't wrong. You are allowed to fall in love with whoever you want to fall in love with, and to me that's really important. I support anyone because I think true love is not a case of which sex of the person you fall in love with. It's about what they do to your heart, and in this, Emmett's heart was captured, and he never forgot it, and it was buried underneath a lot of stuff. So that's really important to me. This is another LGBTQ book because I love the romance in this. This is about two young boys, Ellis and Michael, who are inseparable. When the boys become men, Annie walks into their lives. It changes nothing and everything. Again, Ellis and Michael fall in love. That's pretty much a go-to. You can guess that from the book. But they all end up having to take their separate journeys, and they take different routes. I'm not going to tell you who goes for who, but yeah, it's safe to say that Annie comes into lives and she changes it. But it's about knowing who you love, and it's about sometimes sacrificing that love. This book is about sacrificing that love for the happiness of the other person. And it's heartbreaking. The first chapter I find on Ellis is a bit slower. The first half is purely based on Ellis. The second half is on Michael. And Michael's side of the book is very hard-hitting and very, very hard-hitting. So be warned, there are a lot of triggers in this, so you have to be careful. But again, this one is about loving who you love, and sometimes letting go of that person because you love them. Sometimes you do. Sometimes you have to let go of the person you love, and it's heartbreaking, but it's really important. Now I'm going to tell you about a book that I've not got with me because I borrowed all my page turn books from my sister Vicky. But this page turn book is not with me. I will tell you the title and I will tell you to look it up. But it's Johnny Be Good by Page Toon. Out of all the Page Toon's books, this one had to be my top. I could have picked any of them because they're all amazing. But this is about Johnny, who is, again, a bad boy. You know me, I love a bad boy. He's a rock star, he's a bad boy. There is actually a few more books after that, which I loved. I love the way it's looked. But it's about Meg, who is like a secretary. She goes over there to be like a PA for this guy. She's not supposed to fall in love with him. No way. He's a real bad boy. Got a very bad reputation with women. And yeah, there's also a friendship in this. It's about friendships, it's about love, but it's about falling in love with someone that you shouldn't fall in love with, but fighting for that person again. And it's about the fact that, it's heartbreaking. The way it turns out, you just didn't want it to turn out that way. But I loved it. I really loved it. I loved Johnny. I loved the sequel to it, Johnny's Girl. I loved it so much. It was probably, like I said, it's the one out of all of them. I need to get it from Vicky. If I get that copy, I'm keeping it. I don't keep all my page turn books, but if I can buy it from someone from a charity shop, I will keep it because it is amazing. And it's actually probably one I would like to reread because it's that good. Now I'm going to go to another chick lit book. How to Find Love in a Bookshop. Wouldn't you love to find love in a bookshop? Bookshops are full of love. They're full of love stories. But this is really interesting because Amelia returns to a Cotswold hometown to rescue the family business. Nightingale Books is a dream come true for book lovers. But the best stories aren't just within the pages of the book she sells. Her customers have her own tales. This book is not predominantly love, so I kind of have cheated a bit in this. But there is a man that comes into this book that Amelia goes for, and the way their romance turns out is really interesting. I don't know if I should tell you. I could tell you who it is. Let me have a look at my notes because I'm so bad at this. His guy is Jackson. That's a bit of a spoiler, so don't listen to any more if you want to know about this book and haven't read it. But yeah, their romance is really good. Amelia's character is really good. Again, it's about you being told to sort of smile at someone. You're not supposed to fall in love with them, but you do, and I really like that book. Not one to sort of talk much about, but now the next book, you guys know I raved a lot about this last year. Not many people have picked it up, so please pick it up. It's The Silhouette by William Ray Middleton. I love this book. You know I love this book. This is about romance that appears, and it's about seeing beyond. Jack finds Anastasia in a wood. Now she's got a veil in front of her. That's to protect her, or so she believes. It's a way of hiding because she's got some sort of facial deformity. But it's really about more than that. It's about looking beyond what you see in the first place. It's about people hiding behind veils. And it's about finding love through the veil. It's about realising that it's not what people look like that makes you fall in love with them. It's what's beyond their looks. It's what's in here. To me, this stands out because I don't have any self-confidence about how I look. In fact, I have probably way too little self-confidence because I've been bullied. And I wear a veil. I put loads of makeup on, dress up nicely, and I put a veil on because I don't believe I'm pretty in who I am. So this, to me, was why probably this book meant a lot to me. My other half, Chris, I'm going to hope that this book's going for Valentine's Day, and we're hopefully celebrating it together. I don't know what we're doing yet because I'm pre-recording this because I'm organised because of my operation, but he saw beyond what everyone else saw. And when we fell in love, I didn't expect it. He's my toy boy. He's a lot younger than me. He found something in me that no one else has ever really found. A lot of my partners previously have tried to change me, moulded me almost, and Chris didn't. So to me, that's probably why I love this book. Jack sees beyond what Anastasia says, and it's about that. And that, to me, probably why this is actually going to be one of my all-time romances in the world, because it probably strikes too many similarities in my head. Now, for the last bad boy and the penultimate book, Rock Chick. I got sent this by Bailey last year when I was poorly, and she sent this as a gift. Need to find the other Kristen Ashley books. I need to actually look at them. Yeah, I need to look for more of her books. But again, this is about a bad boy. This is about a girl that's not supposed to fall in love with him. Indy Savage is a former wild child. Okay, maybe not former. So she's kind of a bit of a rebel. And a used current bookstore owner, Lee Nightingale, Bookshop's got to be good. Lee Nightingale is a former bad boy and now runs a private investigation unit. Tossed together in a bit of a romance, it's romance, it's dangerous, there's a lot going on in it. There's loads more triggers than I expected in this book. Lots of violence. Find out lots, but it is so good. It's about falling in love with a bad boy again, but it's a bad boy that's got a good heart, and I loved this book. I loved it. It was really good, and I've kept it, and it's one I will reread. Need to find more of this author's books because Bailey was right. They are so good. Now I'm just double checking my notes to see that I've not written down any other books. No. So the last book that I need a copy of, because it's another one I don't have a copy of, but it's a book that you've all heard about. It is Beauty and the Beast. Now, to me, out of all of the books, it's a children's book, so sorry guys, I don't want to get into trouble. But Beauty and the Beast is my favourite book of all time. It's my favourite story of all time. I read it to Mia quite a lot. And it's about, again, the Beast. It's about Belle, I love because she is a bookworm. Beauty and the Beast is my favourite fairy tale, but I believe it's a book as well because it's about the Beast. He got turned into a beast because he did something horrible. And she falls in love with him as a beast. And it's about realising again that looks aren't important. And when they fall in love, it is just amazing. I love Belle. Belle's character is brilliant. It's got the same name as my niece, which I love. And Beauty and the Beast is my favourite of all time. I've got both the films, the cartoon and the other one. And the adult one. The adult one is so good with Emma Watson. Please, guys, read that. But yeah, I loved that book. I loved it because to me, even as a child, it's about people proving that it's not what you look like that matters, it's what's in your heart. So yes, there is a kind of a theme in this. Yes, I'm a soppy sausage. I can't help that. But yeah, I think if you're looking at any romance in any book, that will always be the best because it's Belle and the Beast is the best romance in any book ever, in my opinion. Obviously, it's subjective to everyone else's opinion, but there you go. Anyway, guys, I hope you've liked this video. I've tried to keep it a bit different. I've tried not to do standard chick litty books in this, but there are loads of chick lit authors. If you've got any sort of recommendations that you need, let me know in the comments below. I've got loads on my Goodreads, but I wanted to make this diverse. I wanted to make it interesting. So I hope you've all liked it. If you have liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel and not subscribed yet, ring on my ding-a-ling! And I hope you've all enjoyed this video. I hope you all had the best Valentine's Day ever. Take care, bye-bye.